Welcome to Your Take. It is June 2020, and we are still in the grips of dealing with the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as police brutality, and also dealing with if we should defund some of the police practices, and understanding what all of that is. In doing so, one of the shows I like to watch a lot, and I really enjoy the comedy and the commentary, is John Oliver's Last Week Tonight. And recently he's done a lot of really interesting and historically correct monologues. And this one is a few clips from his last one about the police. Check it out.
Tonight, let's talk about the police. Because all week we've seen graphic videos which are going to be hard to watch of them driving directly into crowds, beating people with sticks, and sometimes assaulting the right to assemble with shocking speed and barbarity.
Prematurely shooting people, prematurely using excessive force, your scary ass on somewhere.
And that's just one of hundreds and hundreds of videos. And we're taping this Saturday morning. Who knows what will have happened by Sunday night? In Minneapolis, where George Floyd was murdered, police use force against black people at 7 times the rate of whites. Black Americans are 2.5 times more likely than whites to be killed by police. And about 1 in every 1,000 black men can expect to be killed by police. If you're black in America, I can't even begin to imagine how scared, angry and exhausted you must feel, not only this week, but constantly. Medical groups say police violence against black and brown Americans is just one of many physical and psychological factors that make racism a serious public health issue. And look, clearly, the police are just one part of a much larger system of racial inequality. But for tonight, we're going to focus primarily on them. Some of America's first law enforcement units were the slave patrols tasked with capturing and returning people who'd escaped from slavery. And when slavery ended, white people had no intention of letting that be the end of white power. As one Alabama planter said in the wake of emancipation, "We have the power to pass stringent police laws to govern the Negroes. This is a blessing, for they must be controlled in some way, or white people cannot live among them." And I know that's uncomfortable to hear. It's certainly uncomfortable for me to say. But if we want to talk about how we got here, it's important to remember that we got here on purpose. Now, for a century after that, police in the South were responsible for enforcing segregation while allowing and sometimes participating in lynchings and anti-black terrorism. And as black people migrated to the North by the millions, they were met there, yet again, by brutality. And all of this, coupled with the continued denial of economic and housing opportunities, we've issued the police literal military-grade equipment, some of which you have seen used to control and intimidate protesters this week. And it's frankly not just the hardware that's a problem here, because a whole sub-industry of police training has also cropped up to reinforce the message that cops are at war. And perhaps no one takes that idea further than this guy.
Once you've made the decision to take a human life, you're a transformed creature, you're a predator. What does a predator do? They kill. Only a killer can hunt a killer. Are you emotionally, spiritually, psychologically prepared to snuff out a human life in defense of innocent lives? If you can't make that decision, you need to find another job.
Wow. You know, the problem with telling someone that they're a predator is that it primes them to see the rest of the world as potential prey. It's about a structure built on systemic racism that this country created intentionally and now needs to dismantle intentionally and replace with one that takes into account the needs of the people that it actually serves. And this is going to take sustained pressure and attention over a long period of time from all of us. Black communities have had to be perpetual activists while also routinely being disenfranchised. And it is long past time that the rest of us join to make sure that their voices are heard and acted upon.
John Oliver is a comedian as well, and I did cut out a lot of the commentary because I wanted to focus on the facts. He had so many historical facts in all of his shows, and they're really, really interesting and funny as well. I suggest you watch all of his shows on HBO, but especially the ones that deal with Black Lives Matter. He really does get to the core of it and help you understand how we have a systemic racist problem in America. I give his show a 4.5 only because there's a lot of profanity, but it's a really great watch. Please leave your take in the comments below and subscribe.